Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Panels Playing the Matsuri-Con. I am your one-quarter host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, and with me today are some very good friends. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure.
Yeah, well, you go first.
All right, I will. Hey there, this is that umbrella guy. How you doing?
This is still very, I'm taken back. Wow, it's great to have all you here. I'm Hiro Hey.
And I'm Ty Beard.
What do you even do?
Well, I'm obviously not a real lawyer.
All right, y'all. So welcome. Thank you all for coming out. We're deeply humbled by the attendance here. It's fantastic to see all of you and meet you all in person. Tonight's panel is not law-focused or anything like that. We're going to be talking about the incursion of specific ideology, and this sounds way more academic, sorry, than it actually will be. We're probably just going to descend into memes and super chats in 5 minutes, but this is about the incursion of specific ideologies into fan communities, particularly coming from the people who are making the product and basically forcing them upon the people who are buying the product or engaging in the product. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but that kind of torques me off a little bit.
I absolutely agree, and it seems like they agree too. You know, what happened to being able to just get back from a hard day of work or whatever and enjoy entertainment without all this crazy stuff being put in there? I don't know.
Right, and the interesting thing about this is that there's, on the surface, there's no problem having some sort of political or ideological message in a particular piece of art or in a particular product. The problem comes when it's a uniform attack on a particular fan community, and we kind of represent four different, not officially, let's be very careful here. We don't officially represent any communities, but we come from four different sort of communities. I've taken on, I guess, the idea that in some way I'm representing the Warhammer 40K, tabletop gaming, and lore community. Whereas, right, Skulls for the Skull Throne. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I would humbly suggest that Tug here is representing the comics community.
Comics gay!
That Hiro Hey is representing the anime community, or the waifu community, one of those two.
They're one and the same.
And that
We're all very classy individuals.
And Primarch Percy, Tyrone Beard, is representing the tabletop, or the RPG community.
Tabletop and RPG.
Right.
And the Perplexed Dad community.
So, in light of that, something I believe have all noticed is that there's a particular ideology, and it comes primarily from the left side of the social political spectrum. And it is being routinely... it is being routinely inserted into almost targeted communities, and it happens. There's a threshold point where something gives. We saw it, of course, in the fables and legends of the Gamergate controversy from a couple years ago, and that's where I think a large part of our community started to wake up to.
Boo. No, it's definitely not.
I'm kidding. Started to become aware of this was with Gamergate.
Wait a sec, I'm sorry. That was a pun, wasn't it?
I
That was good. It took me like 10 seconds, though.
Well, that's like 10 seconds longer than it took to come up with, so... No, but we started to see this coming into the communities because Gamergate got so much prominence. But I don't think any of these are directly comparable. It's more of a feeling. And that's what I'm picking up from the people outside in these communities that I talk to is that there's a general feeling that these things are closing in. The Warhammer community, and to Games Workshop's credit, for all of their faults, one thing they have resisted is this sort of incursion of a specific group of people who I question the legitimacy of their fandom personally, but that's just my opinion. Have come in and wanted to change what essentially amounts to 3 to 4 decades of lore. They want to insert some sort of representation into a particular area of the background story, whereas ignoring the representation in the rest of it. So they're attacking a particular part of that community. Games Workshop has resisted it, but we've seen it in other communities as well. And so with that, I would like to pass this off to Tug, which is
yeah. Get that going on. Actually, it took us a long time to realize one thing, that we are not fans or friends of these giant corporations.
the mask and the mic. You got to be close to.
Oh, I got to be closer. There we go. I was going to try the other one, but it didn't have a mouth hole, so it was kind of weird. Anyway, it took us a long time to realize that we can't appeal to them. We have to speak. We can speak prominently with our voices, but we also speak with this. We speak with our wallets or whatever, our debit cards, or however you want to go.
Look at the money falling out of Tug's wallet.
Look at that!
I want that wallet, Tug. What's up with that?
This could have been yours, Marvel. No, I mean, we've tried to speak common sense into all these places. Now, every movement is different, though. When you look at anime, you do have companies that are ignoring fans, and you can see what happens when you actually listen to fans. A place like Anime Matsuri, look at the people around here. Look at the lines to these places. You look at independent comic books. I launched my own comic book. I have 47 pros that launch a comic book almost parallel to mine. They bring in, who am I? I'm a guy sitting on a panel with a freaking hockey mask on. I mean, look at the insanity.
Little weird, buddy.
Yes, I am. What a weird world. But hey, it's an awesome world, too. And people like yourself, all of you make that possible, too. So, anyway, you want to talk about some anime attachment to this as well?
Yeah, I mean, are you done with that part?
Oh, well, I'll come back to it. I could talk all day.
Yeah, why don't you go on a minute longer? I need to think about
we have a
something
little
to say.
bit of experience talking for too long. Yeah, all of us.
Well, the anime side of things has also gone under similar circumstances in terms of Kobayashi Dragon Maid and the one that sounds like Hajime no Ippo, but it's not. There's been a few inserts that are very questionable in terms of changing the context of the material from Japan to the United States, and it's not something I really noticed right away, but this whole movement, the last 4 months, the whole movement, so to speak, it's definitely brought awareness to that. And I watch anime for escapism for the most part. I like to enjoy the product. I like to get taken to another world, like some ReZero shit, basically. It's something. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you guys agree, because it is something amazing that shouldn't be taken away from us. And we do have the power, like Tug said, with our wallet to show our support for the creators, the people that work on the products that we support. And if they're going to continue going down this road, well, probably won't end so well, but it's definitely a more drawn out process than I expected. Let's go back to the comic side of things, because you guys have been involved with that much longer than the kind of anime side. So what do you think about that? Like the length of time specifically for these changes and everything?
I think you really think about what are they arguing against? They're arguing against 3 talking points that a lot of us cover. We talk about products, we talk about professionalism, and right now we're talking about due process. All of this stuff seems common. I mean, it's common sense items. When did this become counterculture? That's a frightening. That is a frightening idea. You have people on here that have law experience facing off against Twitter lawyers, trying to tell us exactly. 280 character culture is burning a guy down. I watched this guy downstairs appealing to fans. It's amazing. Sorry,
on the mic.
Sorry. I apologize. But I watched this guy, for an hour, like going back and forth and making sure that he spends time, that he spends that energy. And these companies, they have forgotten that. Again, if they have forgotten you, then you remind them. You can either remind them by speaking up, and if they will not listen, you can build up a guy downstairs. You can build him up and make sure that he is that shining focus. You know, you can build up independent creators because, again, we're talking about things that other businesses outside of entertainment understand. You have people that would fall all over themselves for your business out there. Have you ever had a plumber come to your house and say, well, I'm going to call you a Nazi, but, you know, remember, separate the plumbing from the plumber? Hell no, you know? So...
That was a wicked double entendre.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know, what kind of plumber is it?
Yeah. Well, I was going to bring up a joke about cracks, but I was like, no.
Mr. Beard, you have significant experience in both law and business, as well as being a complete nerd.
I am out of the closet on my nerddom.
Yes. Now,
I feel strangely liberated.
yeah, it's fine. We'll have you here in cosplay next year.
Nobody wants to see that.
So, the role-playing community has actually been, in a way, dealing with this for a very, very long time.
Yeah. And not quite as...
You're much older than all of us. So.
Yes, very much older, young man, and don't forget it. Yeah, tabletop role-playing, pencil and paper role-playing has, when it started out, it came out of a bunch of grumpy old male wargamers. And so some of the stuff from the 70s, when you read it, is utterly misogynistic. But as early as the 80s, you know, they kind of cleaned that up because it turned out women like to play role-playing games too, not as often as men, but, you know, they did make an effort to, you know, take some of the really obnoxious stuff down. And that's the thing that drives me crazy, right? Is who in their right mind today actually would be an open misogynist publicly, for example, or an open racist in polite society? I mean, people just don't do that. And, well, yeah. That's an open society, yeah. But, you know, honestly, I don't know about y'all. I really don't like to pay people money for them to come to me and say you're a racist or you're a sexist or you're this, you're that, and the other thing. It's like, oh, give them my money back. I think I'll go do something else. But in the role-playing space, the real incursion has been in the conventions, and the pattern tends to be you get people that roll into the hobby who really have never been known as participants in the hobby. They immediately want the convention owners to let them do seminars where, okay, let me get this straight. The people that are going to pay me to come to my convention, you want me to pay you to scold them? And a lot of the conventions have resisted, some haven't, you know. But it's like we've taken from elementary school, all those kids who tattled all the time and who always cut in the front of the line. That's what these people are. They want to become movers and shakers in a particular hobby or an area without doing any of the groundwork or the hard work to get credibility. They just want to jump to the front of the line. And, you know, if I walked in and called somebody a thief or a liar, just out of the blue, you're a thief, you're a liar. You know, down here in Texas, sooner or later, somebody would punch my teeth out.
Well, to be fair, in Houston, you got about a 75% chance.
Maybe. But what I find fascinating is they throw around... Is that me?
Yeah, probably.
Keep the mic close? Yeah.
Boomer.
Okay.
It's really booming.
That's true. No, but I mean, you wouldn't... but these people will throw slurs like racist, sexist, whatever there is, and they get indignant when you say, no, I'm not, and you get mad. Well, I scolded you. I have the right to scold. I mean, these people are pathetic. Sorry. Did I answer your question?
I don't know. Did I? I don't know if I asked
I'm
one.
not sure you did.
On that subject, though, you were talking about bullies out there. These are the same people that wanted to bully you out of hobbies. They didn't want anything to do with these hobbies. You made them your own spaces. I mean, if you look around you, if you look at all the people here, look at they love that word, diversity. Look at the diversity in these crowds here. These arguments that they have, they just want this, and they want it so they can destroy it. They'll kick you out of something because they wanted it, but they don't really want it. They just want the space to claim as their own, but they won't support it.
That's right. I'm stepping over you. Executive decision.
Knock yourself out.
Executive decision. I'm Kurt Russell. You're Steven Seagal. All right.
I can live with that.
It's a weird... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to go back to Hirohei's point. following that is that it's they want the space, but they want the space for a particular reason, and that's what is so nefarious about this is these are escapist communities. No matter what it is, no matter how even people marginally plugged into them, it's where you go when you get away from the rest of the world, when you get away from CNN playing at the coffee shop, when you get away from your coworkers talking about the recent thing that Trump said. It doesn't matter what side of any of this you fall on. All day, we're bombarded with a particular line about politics, one way or the other, sometimes both. We're bombarded with particular ideas about how social interaction needs to be, and you get one opportunity when you go home to sit down and crack open a book or pop in an anime or gather around with some friends and come up with a role-playing adventure to not have to worry about if you've met some weird undisclosed level of representation that might be acceptable, or some weird quirk of social interaction that you've never heard of before in the real world, but is somehow must be applied to literature. What's that rule that's in the book where two women have to have a conversation for?
I was just reading about that actually. It was yeah. Do you guys know?
The Bechdel test. Thank you. Yes, two women in any sort of piece of literature or television.
Failed the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, are you cosplaying today? Or
Do what?
You said you were
Hey,
cosplaying.
don't tell me how I identify, Tug.
We've seen your Twitter, so
So
I haven't seen it. Them in your Twitter profile.
right. But it's the idea that there's some arbitrary guideline to determine whether the women in a particular story are good enough. Like, how absurd is this? And we have people determining that you cannot go to the one place you get to escape all this, and that's your own hobbies. Right. And so that's the gist of what I think that what we've become about. Wherever our coverage in this stuff started, and wherever it ends up going, right now, this is a fight, and it's a fight for you guys to be able to express autonomy, for you guys to be able to write or consume a book that passes the Bechdel test on every page if you so want, because that's your money that you put down, and you should be able to buy a product that you want, but you should never have the right to force someone else to not buy the product that they want.
And that's the weird thing too nowadays, because we're up here, but we're just like you guys. Like, we're fans of all this kind of stuff that we're talking about, and it's a weird dynamic when you have people in positions of power in these companies or whatever they are, some convention circuits, which, on that note, Anime Matsuri is a very genuine place. Like, all the staffers I've met seem like huge fans of like everything that's going on here, so it's amazing, but that's not the case for every convention. There are some people in power, conventions, companies that really don't care about the product itself, and they just want to shill you the product and sell you the product and use you, basically. And I'm not entirely sure what can be done about that. I mean, we talked about voting with your wallet, but I don't know. Maybe there's more. I don't know.
Well, don't go down without a fight. Right?
That's true.
I mean, you know.
Hey, Tug,
These are our
do you
hobbies.
have any idea how we might allow people to vote with their wallets? This guy, how much have you raised?
$85,000. Yeah, it's like this. Again, really think about this. So, established professionals, we had 45 to 47 people on a book. You have me, again, a guy sitting here talking to you in a hockey mask, and two artists that are amazing artists. But the mainstream, like, have you ever heard of Peter Gilmore? Have you ever heard of Kyung Lee? No. I mean, most people had not, and yet we talk to you folks because you are the people that ultimately we have to talk to. You treat every one of you with respect. If we do something wrong and you bring it up, we listen to you. You know, again, it's a very easy idea, and that idea, these people could be making bank. There's enough money to go around in all of it for independents, for large corporations, but they don't see it that way.
Can I interject something? What are the names of your two artists again?
Yeah, it's Peter Gilmore and Kyung Lee.
Okay, so you've never heard of Peter Gilmore and Kyung Lee unless you follow Tug, right? Their artwork's fantastic. Really, really top-notch stuff coming out of that, the Littlest Umbrella.
That's correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. But look around. Like, look around at the people who come up to you. look at the artwork of the people who are here, not at Artist Alley, walking around, the cosplay, the reenactments that are going on just in the hallways, the voice acting, the amateur voice acting that people do when they're mimicking their favorite characters. Look at the art that people are passing out. Why do we know the names of the artists that are pushing this upon us? That's the real question. Like, why do we still know the names of these people? And why, if you want to know why they're so desperately trying to tap into this idea of this top-down ideology, it's because they know that out, probably in this crowd, there are just here, in this room, there are people with the same level of talent, or at least the potential for it. Not me, I can't draw for anything. But there are people who could replace them in a moment. There is very little special about these artists on the caliber of what they're doing. Where their real talent comes in is their ability to dance. Like, honestly, you can go to local theaters and find actors who are great, but there's a different level of networking and opportunity that has prevented them from being a name that you've known. Right? Same thing with artists. We're eliminating that with the internet.
Another thing on that point.
Yeah.
One of the things that we failed at, I think, at first, Comicsgate, for example, you call it whatever you want, it's just easy shorthand for it. Okay, we wanted something from companies, and they would not give it. Now, we can either keep demanding something, keep complaining on the internet, or we can do something. That's the one thing that we've seen from the anime community and the comic community there, and I think there's a lot of overlap. They've stood up and they've said, okay, well, we're going to use our money and we're going to use our talent and we're going to create our own thing. Now, these people, they don't like that either. A lot of the people that try to stand in the way of that, many of them are endorsed by these companies. I mean, and you just have to be louder than them. And one of the ways you're louder than them is not just arguing with them, but it's speaking to all of you.
Isn't it funny that a huge company can be scared of like individual creators like that? Like literally terrified.
Well, you
I
think...
don't know, he scares me.
What was that?
He scares me.
Well, okay, the biggest YouTuber that talked about comics that I knew of at the time when a Diversity in Comics talked about it, he had 50,000 subs, 50,000 people there. But you're talking about in that field, comic books rarely, when they're sold to stores, they rarely sell 50,000 copies, and that's to a store.
They rarely sell 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Copies, not 10,000.
Copies.
No, but that's one thing. Again, we and you guys in this room and everybody at a place like Anime Matsuri, you can go to any number of conventions around the country, but there are a handful of conventions that have shown that they're willing to stand with artists, that they're willing to stand with creators, and they're willing to stand with the fans. Right? That's one thing I have gotten from Anime Matsuri is how much they're catering towards the fans. Just sticking with Vic, knowing that people want a place to see him, and from the start, providing the opportunity for him to be here and interact with people, which is something that he plainly loves to do, right?
Let's emphasize that point. Yeah, Anime Matsuri from the get-go has been backing him, supporting him.
Right. And there are a couple other conventions around that you will find this. And I think as we provide support for the ones that do, the ones that want to but haven't yet, will be quick to fall in line, because ultimately it's for the fans. It really is. And these places don't operate without you guys going through the door, without having people come in, buy those super passes, spend days engaging with vendors and talking with people and networking, and then going home and then helping them network. You guys are their advertising department in a very real sense. So when you're showing up for these, that's a way. The comic community is amazing, because in comics you can make a book with 1, 2, or 3 people. You can put out a very high quality product. Anime is obviously a little different. There's a different scale of production that goes into it. But these conventions are the opportunity for you to basically crowdsource where the interest is. I mean, support the conventions you like. You guys are willing to travel across the country. I mean, heck, I came 1,000 miles to be here. That's fantastic. And
Can we give props to Anime Matsuri too? I mean, Jim, the staff, everybody has been beyond welcoming. I really appreciate the way that they've gone beyond.
yeah, they've been fantastic. Absolutely. But it's supporting these types of conventions. That's the opportunity in the anime community. And in the great thing is, I know none of you are just anime fans and nothing else. Well, maybe one or two, but this overlap, whatever community you're in, whatever other communities you're in, if you think this isn't coming, it's not limited to anime. That's
They're
kind of
going after every sector.
every sector. There's a group of people who don't think you should be able to escape how wrong you are.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. That's what they're after. And for whatever brokenness is inside them, they need to put that upon everybody else and find no way to escape from it. So it's coming in your communities. And my message to you today, I guess, is just an encouragement. Look at places like Matsuri. This convention has a very obvious boycott group that is out there. They're very vocal. It's the same nasty people that we've dealt with in other areas, and yet it's still put on. It's still heavily attended, and that's a credit to y'all. Because without you guys, Anime Matsuri would be back down. I mean, what other option would they have if people didn't show up? So
It's a good point. I want to dial back to that in a second, but I see this gentleman over there has his hand raised. What do you guys think about in a little bit if we do a Q&A? Would any of you like that?
oh, you want to ask questions?
All right.
What is this?
So we will definitely do that then if you guys are cool with that.
I didn't. What? This is for the fans? What are we doing?
I mean, I know.
No,
Hard to believe, right?
I believe in this top-down approach where we just tell them what to think.
I thought you were drunk
We've
when
been
you
talking
came
about the
over.
whole time.
I thought that was just more of your drunken law splaining.
Oh,
Get me a gin immediately. Okay, how do we want to take these questions? So you've got your hand up, I see. Back there. Yeah, you. Me? You not what, Tug? Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, so you want an autograph?
Autograph.
You have something for me to sign? Like right now? I mean, I have a pen, but well, yeah.
run it up, run it up.
Yeah. No wiggle room.
Okay. In the meanwhile, next.
I have something I want to do. I want to record the room screaming out, "It's for the fans."
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I may have to come behind you. Is that okay?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Just making sure.
May I come behind you?
We'll see how I feel about this in 5 or
Whoa.
6 years.
Hang on. What? Do you want us to stand up too? Yes, go ahead.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay, we'll do this thing. Yeah.
Okay, let me get behind you.
Oh,
All right, on the count of 3, we're gonna scream out, "It's for the fans." Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Adequate effort. Just kidding. That was fantastic. Thank you.
I thought you said it was pretty
All right,
epic.
On Twitter right now.
What do you got, buddy?
Oh, perfect too.
I thought I was getting served papers.
Is that a how-to book or? Ooh, he's got a cool signature.
Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Thanks, buddy. Yes, the manga. Awesome, thank you. All right, next question. Okay, do that in the back there. Yeah, you. Bearded guy. Oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, what?
Uh-oh.
I have never actually been able to play 40K. I apologize.
No.
That's changing.
Thank you, Ty.
I will say that is changing here at Matsuri. I will be playing some Kill Team here at Matsuri, but as a kid, I was never able to afford playing 40K because I didn't have a house to mortgage back then.
That's true.
And now I live in this very small town. There are not a lot of people to play with. So the way I've partaken of the 40K community is through the books. I have every special edition book that Black Library has released to my knowledge, to my financial detriment, and to my wife's dismay. But if I were playing, I would play Custodians. So, all right.
All right. What about you in the blue, sir?
Yeah.
So you're scamming the super chat?
Yeah, what are you trying to get out of that?
No, I'm just
Wait, is
kidding.
this one of those refunded chats, message redacted?
Instantly, yeah. No, go ahead.
One thing that I find interesting is that one of the arguments that the fat, ugly people that kick big, these social justice warriors, what they want is for everyone to be seen as a public figure, like people in the government. Well, except of course them, because they deserve special treatment.
Wait, what was the question?
I think it was making a
I think it was
statement.
a
I mean,
statement.
you sounded like legit though, but
I
yeah.
really enjoyed the fat, ugly part. That was,
Yeah, that was it. That was.
All right.
All right, Tug, you want to pick somebody?
Yeah.
Pick somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. You in the green.
Okay.
No, you in the green.
You're in the green.
Yes.
I will never say no.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good.
Second question would be, recently Dunkin' Donuts said that they're not going to do political stunts, they're just going to sell coffee. How
Yes.
many years would you think it would take for other corporations to follow through, not listen to the blue check marks on Twitter, and just sell shit to people?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ty?
Well, I think I'm getting tired of paying people money to scold me. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm an adult, well, reasonably adult male, and a father, and I don't, I want my hobbies to be fun, and that's a key thing, guys. They're trying to turn all of your hobbies into something you don't want to do, and I say we just fight them at every turn.
And can I just add that all of these hobbies are built to allow whatever level of unfun you want to add into them.
Thank you.
But I think so. There's a question about I don't remember who said it, but there's a back and forth about how does racism die, and the answer was one person at a time.
Yeah.
How do these businesses change? And it's one transaction at a time. It really is. When you see a company that you support their position, go support their position, buy their products, go out of your way to do it, because these companies operate on margins that are much smaller than we all like to pretend. They really do. And every missed dollar is a missed dollar, and it's a missed opportunity for them to have done better. And they know it. When businessmen run the company, they know it. And businesswomen as well.
And fight back on Twitter.
Business
if that's
people.
business persons. Fight back on Twitter if that's your deal. Fight back on social media. Tell these companies you're not happy with being scolded. I would be reasonably polite. Well, I probably wouldn't be polite, but
And we
I would
do have
encourage
some.
everybody else.
Go ahead.
A lot of these companies are finally waking up to the fact that Twitter likes do not equal sales. There was a Universal Fan Con, people tried to put on. They had tens of thousands of likes, or rather over 100,000 likes, tens of thousands of retweets. They sold a handful of tickets. Handful. You know, it was.
This is a struggle,
My
man.
God,
You guys need to.
It's weird talking through a mask.
Are you not used to talking into a microphone, Tug?
I'm not used to talking through something that looks like this. I'm not used to talking through something you have to drill holes in.
Oh.
But we do have some very real examples recently of, to continue on that question briefly, there's some very real examples recently of companies that are seeing the failures of that approach. Burger King's one, and more recently you have good clap on that. And, the DOJ probe with the Google investigation that's going on, that's a huge story.
I don't want to be Google.
Yeah.
Another brief law update. James Damore is no longer part of the class action lawsuit against Google because of his binding arbitration agreement. However, the unhired members have surpassed the motion to dismiss, and Google is moving on to discovery in a class action lawsuit. And I do not want to be them having the internal communications of their management, which the tiny portion we've seen have shown an absolute disdain for many of the people who use it, myself included. They hate me. Some of them openly. That was fun.
Wow.
But and this type of stuff, in all honesty, the lost transactions, every lawsuit, every Oberlin college, right?
Yeah.
Where we get to expose these people for who they are and just what they think of the paying customers, it will kill them. I mean, there's nothing you can do to avoid it other than they'll have to purge their ranks or they will die. That's it. That's grim. You,
sounds
buddy.
good.
Other than this panel, what are some of your favorite events that happened so far at this event?
For myself, hanging out with all of you folks. I think I think that's been fun.
Yeah, I've
That-
pretty much
Wanted
stood
to
at
do
your
it.
table the entire time, and people just kept coming up, and it's awesome.
Yeah, honestly, it's
You know,
very humbling. It's still very surprising, honestly.
Nick is a terrible salesman.
The worst. He had me watch his table. He's like, "Oh, sell stuff," and people come up.
He's like, well, I gave away a few things. I was like, awesome,
Not
No,
even. Nothing.
Zero. He's in the hole.
Goose egg.
Oh, sorry. Next, let's see.
Broly, let's get Broly here.
Oh my gosh.
Is this a trap? Sure.
No, you're supposed to.
I'll
Oh
take
no.
it.
Oh god.
Oh, God,
It-
I feel
see-
assaulted.
That's a whole
I was
stack
like, what
of
the heck is
assault.
that?
Oh my goodness.
I looked like he was in shell shock when they came flying in.
You're right there.
Artillery.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here the whole time. Typically hovering around Tug's table, which is kind of front and center.
Yeah, if you guys, Tug, why don't you tell them where it is really quick, just in case?
I have a table in the exhibit hall, number 810. The whole point in having a table, not really selling things, it's just to hang out and to meet all you folks. I mean, that's all I want to do. Like, I come to this stuff because we have amazing communities, and that community is right here, and I wanted to support Anime Matsuri, and like I said, I wanted to meet all you folks.
Absolutely. I called on him before, but we had some crazy stuff happen. What's up?
All right. So a friend of mine, he wasn't able to be here for the convention, but he just wanted to relay, Irate Hordak. He just wanted to relay that the fans don't want politics it just shoved right into our fandoms. Have fun and screw the twins.
That's a good message. I mean, really, it doesn't even matter where your alignment falls on the political spectrum. It's just a matter of wanting to be able to enjoy entertainment for what it is. That's really what it comes down to, at least to me.
Yeah, there's no illusion that people want to like go home and just read only conservative talking points in their anime either, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I don't want a Rush Limbaugh rant injected into a dub of My Hero Academia.
Oh God. Oh God. You imagine All Might going off on Salute.
Right.
Oh God, man.
Yeah. So, that's one of the misconceptions that we get all the time is that because we're pushing back against a particularly insidious ideology coming into these communities, I like to think that if there was some intentional injection, and actually we saw this from Comicsgate, there's a pretty severe backlash towards some of the creators who really wanted to inject overt right-wing political messages into the comics, and the large portion of the community is like, if you want to do that, that's fine, but stop trying to co-opt our movement and make it into that. That's not what we're about. We're not about just having our version of politics pushed in. It's like, just let us buy what we want, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
A lot of these talking points are not right-left, they're right-wrong. I mean, think about what we boil it down to. Most of us understood that. That's creepy watching you eat a jelly bean like that beside me.
I'm glad I wasn't looking.
There you go. It'll really fit through the eye hole. It has to be like this. All right.
Oh wow.
Yes. We will be in touch. Yeah, I guess we were.
But okay, next question. There's a chicken back there, and that's creeping me out. I gotta get
What
that.
the heck?
I love that.
Let the chicken talk. That's impressive.
It does depend. It depends on the product specifically, though. Like, just because a company makes anime doesn't necessarily mean that it's for the same target market as another anime. You know, like some people like slice of life. Some people want a harem anime, and some people just want like some shonen stuff. So I agree on some of that, and not all of it though. But I don't know about the rest of you guys.
Well, what I would say, so, Hiro, every time I talk to you, you say a bunch of Japanese words that are titles of shows. And like,
Oh boy.
back when I was in high school, and my friends were importing like fan subbed VHS tapes from Germany of Cowboy Bebop or Evangelion or whatever. I would have considered myself like an anime fan. Like that was like certainly a tier above where I am now. But when you so that was 20 years ago ish, something like that. But when you talk about anime, I've never heard of any of this stuff. So
because we need to. Oh, go ahead, finish.
Well, my point in all this is there some limited amount of intellectual property that people will buy? I don't think so. We've never seen there's only so much room in a community. How many of you have watched a new anime or a new episode of something within the past month? Something you've never even seen or heard of? Exactly. There's no reason that we have to impose these rules into existing property. I got some of you to put your hands down. That was funny. There's no reason we have to force this stuff into existing IP. That was one of the big problems with comics. It's like if you want a character to have representation for a particular community, great, make that character. Don't fist it into an existing character.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, what I noticed has also happened, maybe you've seen this too, sometimes they'll change an existing character to force into that mold.
Bullcrap, Iceman is straight.
Much to this dismay of Human Torch.
Oh, man.
All right, Hammer.
Hey guys, me and my wife drove 20 hours from Virginia to see you guys.
It's good to see you here.
Hey, keep up the good work, and B, for our lawyer, our drunk lawyer.
I think that one's me.
Which one?
guess that depends if you want shattered carpals or if you want hepatitis.
What about the person all the way in the back? Yeah, you who just looked, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I know who you two are. I couldn't tell because the light is glaring right in my eyes.
Yes.
Props, too. Great artwork.
Absolutely.
Come on down.
The light's blinding.
Good to see you, Nita.
I don't know if you've seen my Fear of the Beard.
Probably. My daughters show up to me all the time.
I like that shirt, by the way.
That was you?
Wants the jelly beans.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
That's why we have 5 kids.
You're welcome. Thank you. Very gracious.
You did good.
Ty, pick someone. You pick someone. Come on. Do some work up here.
I like that shark-looking thingy there. What is that? Yeah.
That's Rick. That's Pickle Rick. Oh, God, that was bad.
Wait, to be
I
fair,
swear it sounded better when I was saying that to
Guys,
myself.
It's the glare.
to be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to be a fan of Rick and Morty. Sorry, Ty.
That's fair.
What's all y'all guys' favorite conspiracy theories? And like, y'all say like y'all should be like worried about the stuff that's happening now. What's like your biggest like fear of what this is gonna like lead to in the future?
I like the theory about genetically engineered cat girls, but I'm worried that they're going to take it too far. It's going to be too much cat, not enough girl.
I'm starting to like that one more and more now. I don't know. I've always found the fake moon landing. I don't know. It's an old one, but a good one. I always love that.
I don't know. What's my favorite? What's your favorite
I
conspiracy?
don't really have one. The flat Earth, folks.
Flat Earth.
Props to that.
That's good.
If you go out on YouTube, you can find flat Earth videos, and they're a hoot.
Wait a minute. I thought you're.
What?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the globularist conspiracy that the Earth isn't flat.
Right? Yeah. That was it.
I think we know mine. 4 turtles for the win. You sir. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I think Shane would go fucking apeshit in this room.
Luigi.
Oh, man.
I've noticed this ideology always appears in all of our media, all of our fan bases, all of our hobbies. And I'm an historian, and everybody can tell when they look at it, when they went after our comics, we fought back. And after our video game, we fought back. We went after our music, we fought back. I'm kind of thinking at this point, like, don't we need to start figuring out our memory problem? Every time they go after our hobbies, we fight back, and they lose money. I mean, why hasn't nobody in that political system learned this by now?
Because they are morally just. They're morally justified in their minds. No, they really are. I mean, these folk. I used to think they were cynical. I don't believe that at all now. They are genuine fanatics. Now look.
Ty, I'm sorry, could you just repeat the thing you said? You don't think that anymore?
I said I don't think that. I used to think they were just cynical manipulators, but no, I think they're fanatics. And the thing is, it takes a long. You're a historian. How long did it take to drive Imperial Japan back in World War II? Despite the fact that we outweighed them in every category by many multiples. Fanatics go down hard, and you just got to fight them. The alternative is to roll over. Yeah, they're going to keep coming.
You know what happened.
What happened? Okay, I'm sorry.
I know this stuff already. It's in the books. And you still come out and say,
I mean, it is a really good question. It's honestly a really hard one to answer. It could vary company to company, but totally just theorizing. But I do wonder if some companies at this point are forsaking like pure capital and bottom line for power. And you know, like some of them, if you have enough people in upper management in a company that say like, we'll take a hit on this, but we'll like push this agenda, it could be seizing power. Or if you look at it more long term, they might think short term they're losing money, and long term they're building up the audience, even though you know we know it's probably not going to work out the way they think. But those are just two possible reasons for that. But it's hard to know for sure because it really doesn't make sense, honestly. Yeah.
Fanatics are loud. I mean, that's the thing. I think he's.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Yeah.
There you go. You know.
Some of these really big companies too have so much money, man. You know, if they lose some, it's not the end of the world for them. So yeah, we'll see.
Then let them lose. I mean, hey, you know, you have the ability to walk away. You can take your money somewhere else, and sooner or later they'll pay for it. You know, there's like in comic books, for example, maybe one company doesn't hurt for it because, you know, they have billion-dollar movies, but you know, the other companies out there, they start going bankrupt.
What's scary about that too, Tug, is when those companies see that their competition is succeeding where they're failing, instead of bettering their product, they start to try to get rid of the competition. Like, not, well, you know, like, let's emphasize that because healthy competition is good, right, for the consumer. But this is not healthy competition. This is like they're scared of you and they're going to try to remove you. They're going to try to deplatform you, go after you. It's not competition. It's literally like attacking them, and it can be scary.
What is this, an Ayn Rand book?
I don't even know what that is.
No.
What did he say?
Never mind.
I don't read books. I read manga.
You have a manga of it?
There's a manga of it?
Please get me a manga of the Fountainhead stat.
I've got my Sergeant
Oh,
Rock.
God.
Okay, pick somebody.
There's a colorful sign back there, but I can't read it. I think it says something.
The lights.
About time.
I can't even see this.
Are we out of time?
We're out.
Oh, okay. Well, final thoughts here. Thank you all for coming out and seeing us. Please continue to come see us. If we didn't get to your question here at the panel, please come talk to us in person. We're all just, again, humbled and awed by you guys coming and supporting us, and continue to support places like Anime Matsuri and artists that you like. I'd say artists like Vic out of my assumptions, but even if it's not Vic, artists that you like.
Like that umbrella guy, the littlest umbrella. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you all. It's been a pleasure, and we'll be around the convention. We'll be here tomorrow too. I think all you guys will be here tomorrow.
Yep, we'll be here tomorrow. Oh,
excellent.
And never let any company convince you that it's about anyone other than you. You pay for their existence.
Amen.
Good to see y'all.